Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everybody, depending on which time zone you're logging in from. And thank you so much for taking time to attend the CedarIBSi FinTech Lab webinar on the rise and importance of transaction banking. My name is Angleen Malik by way of introduction, and I'm a director with CedarIBSi. With me today, I have an established panelist, Poonam, Puthran, and Justin Silsbury. I'll just give you a brief introduction on them. Poonam is the Senior Vice President and Head of Delivery at Aurionpro and has 20 plus years of experience in product development and implementation within banking and financial services industry. She is extremely proficient in handling teams and projects worth multi-million dollars, and has also led implementations across Southeast Asia, Middle East, India, Sri Lanka, and Africa, to name a few. And then we have Justin Silsbury, who is the lead product manager at Infosys Finacle. He comes with 20 plus years of experience of across the global financial services and information and technology. Justin has also worked in companies like JP Morgan and Intellect Design, to name a few. I would now request Poonam to give us her views on the perfect digital world.
Thank you for a quick introduction, Angleen. Hi, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening from wherever you are in the world. Thanks for joining this forum. Before we start, I wish you, your family, a good health. It has been really a tough time, for all of us due to this entire pandemic situation. Although I hope, things will settle down soon. Now, rise of transaction banking is a very good topic. So I would like to really thank Cedar for arranging this conversation. Before we start, I would like to give a quick brief about Aurionpro. Aurionpro is founded in 1997, gone public in 2005. We are headquartered in San Ramon, global headquarter in Mumbai, employees over 1,000 plus, and offices, about 15 offices in 11 countries. We are technology solution leader. Just to explain about what we are into, Aurionpro as a group company is divided into two verticals: banking, fintech, and technology innovation group. Now, banking and fintech predominantly caters to the requirement of corporate and retail, ranging the product from corporate internet banking to transaction banking, lending, kiosk management, and then recently we have introduced 3 more solutions. One is the payment gateway, then the SCM Pro that we call as READINESS now. That is for the entire supply chain management and the financial capabilities that is extended to SMEs. They can create their own website, marketplace, etc. Now, the other group, technology innovation group, that particular unit caters to government implementation. Now, when I say government implementation, it is for smart cities, smart metro cities, and into a mass transit business like e-ticketing and automated fare collection, etc. Move forward, please. These are some of our key clients. If I have to name some leading banks like ADCB, Axis Bank, HDFC Bank, Citibank, this is the quick snapshot of our key clients. So here, I would like to quickly give overview on actually one particular slide, I guess, is missing. No worries. Here I wish to share some perspective with you on this topic, and purely our perspective. If you see, this pandemic has totally changed our way of living, right? The way, we have changed our shopping behavior or payment pattern, execution work style, pretty much everything has changed around us. And many of us has adopted seamlessly. Now, one key factor which is common and that has helped us doing this is digitization. Now, we have seen this, greater adoption of digitization in retail customers, but slowly corporate and, wholesale customers are also demanding the same experience. And now customer experience has become more relevant than ever. Now they are demanding for unified digital solution. They are asking for open APIs. They are asking for analytics to take some informative decisions, presence on cloud, faster TAT, quick cross-border transactions, and yet they want a lower operating cost. Now, to address all of these, we need to have a solid platform. I would like to present a couple of case studies around this. Now, this particular case is for one of our leading bank in Middle East. Now, we already know that corporate onboarding process is a very humongous process, right? Biggest challenge for banks to onboard the corporate. And even for the experience for corporate is similar. They have to, visit the branch, fill in the forms, do the signatures, and basically wait time is there. So, lot of delays were already there. Now, this pandemic has added a different flavor to it. RMs couldn't go and meet the corporates. There were, restrictions. Then due to the fear of COVID, corporates denied visiting the branch. Then, there was a protocol of adhering to social distancing, etc. Now, with this, definitely corporate onboarding has gone down drastically. What we have done is we have analyzed, the root of the problem, and we have introduced a self-onboarding module. Now, what that has done is it has completely digitized this onboarding process. We have exposed the services to corporate. Now, corporate can fill in the form by themselves. They can scan the copies and attach the required scanned copies on the portal. And obviously, it needs a secure channel, right? So all those security aspects are taken care. Now, once it moves to bank, they can obviously do follow the bank approval process. It has tremendously, increased the turnaround time, and it has acted as a lead generation tool also for the bank. This particular feature is now one of the key feature in our, corporate internet banking that's a separate module altogether that we are launching soon. Next slide, please. Next. Now, one more case I would like to showcase. This is with one of the leading bank in Southeast Asia. Now here, that particular bank was, day in, day out facing a challenge wherein, their suppliers were coming up with the demand of, their ERP being seamlessly integrated with our solution. Now, with this bank, we have our financial supply chain offering. So, whenever what supplier wanted is whenever they input their invoices on the portal, their ERP portal, it should real time get integrated with our supply chain management. Not only that, supplier wanted to get away with the fear of not getting paid. So they came up with a unique requirement wherein they wanted us to hold the payment the moment invoices gets logged in into the system. So here, this has brought a different side of the case altogether, which is now, having a API-based platform. So now, since our platform was already API enabled, we could seamlessly integrate it with ERP. What we have done is, the moment invoice gets punched into the system, we hold the funds into the core banking. And the moment, and it's called as a guaranteed financing. The moment there is a due date on the invoice, automatically funds gets deducted from the supplier's account and a dealer's account, and the supplier gets credited. So there was a bigger benefit on the bank that the services that they could offer to the supplier with the guaranteed financing. Next slide, please. Now, with these two cases, what we can see is that we have been getting a very challenging demand from the banks. Now, the world is moving towards digitization, and they all want things to be done quick and very much configurable. So the platform that here we provide is iCashPro Plus. If I do deep dive into iCashPro Plus, there's an entire transaction banking suite. We have actually this working in this product, or I would say that into this journey since last 2 decades. I have completely seen this journey right from cash management to transaction banking. Now we are entirely digitizing and providing the corporate unified portal to the customer. This particular platform is the winner of Technovity for most innovative banking technology platform last 2 consecutive years. We have the whole range of transaction banking product for large corporates also and SMEs also, with 100% successful implementation track record. Now, the volume that gets processed on our system is humongous. And this is the benchmarking that we have done for our product is about 5 million payment transactions that gets processed daily onto our platform with 6,000 plus concurrency. Now, these are few leading customers for us. And in fact, if you see a couple of customers have been, for at least one of the customers that I can, name here is ADCB, who have been continuously winning the award for their innovation from last 4 to 5 years for cash management. We have also enabled DFCC to get Finovity award, wherein they have been awarded for extending services to corporates and SMEs. Next slide, please. Now, iCashPro Plus is a integrated transaction banking suite, which encompasses of the product payments, collections, virtual account management, liquidity, receivables, financial supply chain management, trade services, and Forex services. We are already cloud enabled, live with a couple of banks, private, public, hybrid cloud. We are completely microservices based architecture. We support multi-country, and we are completely API enabled platform. As you know, I previously mentioned, it's highly scalable and robust platform because it processes 5 million daily transactions with so many concurrent users today. As we see transaction banking, in earlier days, transaction banking used to be a demand from the corporate, wherein they needed a very strong backend engine with a very strong processing power, right? And if we would have in those days, if we would have provided few modules like charging modules, alerts, basic printing capabilities, electronic fund transfer, or printing, these features, it was easy to sell. But now the demand is more and more unique. They are demanding now, corporates are demanding for a UI like a canvas wherein they have a control, they have a control of having a UI experience by themselves. So now here, what we have done is, though we have a strong core backend, which encompasses all these modules, and we have a thin portal against it, by realizing this particular requirement, we have now decoupled both front end and back end. And now our corporate internet banking is much more beyond the scope of transaction banking. It completely caters to unified requirement of corporate across all the portals. You buy a backend from anybody, right? But the portal, the experience that corporate wants to have is seamless experience. So our new platform will offer the analytics, which is need of an hour, interactive dashboards, campaign management, omni-channel banking, completely open banking enabled. It has Islamic banking. A lot of workflows are there. It has a decision support engine, better risk management. On top of it, it's very secured and proven, and we are also certified. Yeah, so that is it from my side. Thank you so much, Angleen, and Cedar for providing this opportunity for having a discussion. If we have our existing customers, here and listening to us, thank you so much for supporting us and giving us an ideas. You are the one who inspire us and enable us to go far beyond our capabilities. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Poonam, for the insights. And I now ask Justin to share with us some of his views on transaction banking.
Thank you, Angleen. So it's, I guess, similar to Angleen and Poonam. So first of all, good morning, afternoon, evening, depending on where you're based in the world. And also to Poonam's point, obviously, trust everyone is keeping safe. So what I first, I guess, if we just move on to the next slide, Angleen, I just wanted to just kind of pick up, and this is even prior to the pandemic. So over the last few years, we've seen customers demanding higher value services from their banks, particularly from small to medium-sized businesses, who I guess you could probably say have generally been overlooked historically. Customers' buying patterns have changed and they expect more from their banks. This is whether it's real-time payments, open banking, use of machine learning, artificial intelligence to provide insights and recommendations. And in fact, if their existing bank relationships are unable to offer these enhanced services, customers are willing to switch, and not only to your traditional bank providers, but to the new challenger banks, the neo banks, and even the challenger fintechs. We've seen a huge rise in this space, whether it's payment service providers, alternative finance, digital banks, big data aggregators, e-wallet providers, overall financial management solutions, to name just a few. So it's clear transaction banking needs reimagination, and it should be, if not one of, probably the top service under review by bank management. And as you can see on this slide, there are a number of key areas banks need to address as part of the reimagination journey. So depending on where the bank is within their journey, the key reimagined steps consist of digitizing the core, setting up APIs to drive open banking, redesigning channel experiences, empowering RMs with digital tools, pursuing insight-driven corporate banking, and probably just as importantly, gearing up for emerging regulatory expectations. So some banks are further along the transformation than others, but what is clear, banks who have remedied this by digitization are now being seen as the bank of choice. Banks that have not invested in digitization are actually at risk of losing customers. So in summary, digital technologies and transaction banking provides customers instant access to liquidity, enhanced global visibility into the overall cash position, and ability to be more efficient in working capital management. We can move to the next slide, please. So the right strategic banking partner should be able to give a corporate access to a wealth of transactional and account information. But we've seen the readiness is low in most banks to reimagine or transform at a pace that gives them the competitive edge. And we've seen the reason for this is mainly due to the state of their own technology. Many banks are straddled with legacy IT, whose complexity increases by the day due to various short-term and conflicting priorities. Banks also increase the portfolio of products to meet the complex and unique demands of customers and geographies in order to grow their organizations. And also, often through mergers and acquisitions, there can be duplicate capabilities and even application redundancies. Therefore, the increasing IT landscape complexity often leads to disparate systems, product silos, disjointing data workflows, and very often an increase in manual and paper-based processes. All these issues simply inhibit scale in the integration opportunities. So the banks are looking to sunset legacy architecture, deploy cloud-based and modular technology to support the digital journey. Banks recognize they have to innovate. However, as we've seen, it is often their back office technology that limits their ability to achieve this. This has led to an increasing number of banks looking outside and partnering with external providers, which can often give speed to market and lower operational costs. We can move to the next slide, please, Angleen. So we look a bit at the Finacle offering. Infosys Finacle, first of all, has a number of different lines of business. We cover the bank treasury domain, we cover wealth management, for example, but what we're focusing on today is the corporate banking or the transaction banking business line. So from Finacle, the core banking is a comprehensive componentized platform, and it provides corporate banking solution which enables banks to deliver tailored offerings to enterprise clients of all sizes. What we help is the ability for banks to modernize at their own pace. They can choose products that match their business priorities, and the flexibility to decide when to deploy or upgrade a particular component. So transform at one go, or in a progressive phased manner. We've seen different banks take different approaches. And providing this flexible approach empowers banks to simplify their transformation journey while enabling them to reap modernization benefits faster. Finacle helps corporate banks around the world reimagine their business with digital technologies to drive new revenue streams. The solution leverages emerging technologies such as blockchain and advanced analytics to offer impressive benefits to banks and their clients. So if we take a closer look at each component, the deposit module provides a comprehensive range of products for corporate clients, including check accounts, term deposits, and overdraft facilities. The module has built-in integrated financial and account management with multiple currencies supported. Liquidity management. A host of liquidity pooling and sweeping product capabilities are available, including intercompany loan capabilities. And with corporates expanding global operations, banks are coming under increasing pressure to offer innovative solutions that provide consolidated views and enables them to manage investments dynamically while minimizing financial risk positions. In this direction, the virtual accounts solution is a key capability that connects multiple bank accounts, increases the customer's visibility of funds, and provides greater control over working capital. Under supply chain and trade management, the module delivers comprehensive support for the domestic and cross-border trade requirements of small businesses and corporate customers. The module supports both traditional and advanced products and is designed to help digitize trade finance and supply chains business processes. Also, banks can leverage our Finacle payments, an advanced enterprise payment service hub, to modernize payments business and amplify them with even blockchain capabilities. The solution manages end-to-end payment lifecycle and processes payment regardless of payment instrument, originating channels, hosting modules, and payment networks. Supports global payment networks and settlement standards. And finally, the corporate digital suite for the bank's customers. The suite offers a broad range of traditional, modern, and emerging channel experiences to every type of user, working seamlessly with both Finacle and non-Finacle backend applications, such as core banking, trade finance, payments, and so on, as well as channel applications such as mobile banking, branch solutions, and chatbots. It offers extensive capabilities to design customer-centric processes, leading to consistent cross-channel journeys. Embedded analytics capabilities provide contextual and personalized interactions and experiences on all channels and devices. If we can just move to the next slide, please, Angleen. So Infosys Finacle is a truly global solution. As you can see, serving banks in 100 countries and over 100 billion customers, 1 billion customers worldwide, it is no surprise we are recognized as a leader in the transaction banking space. A couple of examples of benchmarking are shown on this slide where Finacle emerged as a leader. Firstly, Forrester completed an assessment of top digital platforms amongst 6 top omni-channel banking platforms. And also IDC MarketScape assessed the capabilities and strategies of 7 corporate banking solutions providers offering end-to-end solutions to corporate banks. And if we can move on to the next, yeah. So I just wanted to cover a couple of use cases. The first one is with Santander UK. So this was a full cash management transformation for the bank, and it started with their UK operation and is gradually expanding across all their locations. The bank is targeting the larger of the SME customers who have historically been overlooked in favour of the largest corporates and retail customers. To help the bank achieve its objectives and better support its customers, the solution includes online banking, payments, liquidity management, and virtual account management. The broader objective of the bank's transformation program is to create a highly personalized, customer-centric, self-service, omni-channel experience. And if we just move on to the next use case. So this is a very interesting implementation. Finacle's actually been on a journey with the bank as they've launched their newly created transaction banking group. They chose Finacle liquidity, virtual accounts, and core banking modules to launch products with a focus on customer experience and self-service. The bank already has a strong customer base, but wanted to provide alternative solutions in adjacent space of their existing investment bank business. As the bank is taking a ground-up approach with technology, there are certain advantages against existing bricks and mortar banks. Starting from a blank sheet, their fintech-like platform gives better technology, agility, and speed to market than most large banks. The long-term vision is to set up a global transaction banking business across North America, Europe, and Asia. Thank you, Angleen.
Sorry, thank you so much, Justin. And I just had a few questions, after listening to both Poonam and you. Poonam, in your view, what do you think is the role of technology in transaction banking?
Banking environment, as even you would have seen in my case studies, right? A requirement has become highly competitive today, and technology plays a great role in enabling this. After all, corporate internet banking and transaction banking has to provide 24/7 online services to the corporate customers, right? Now, along with this digitization and automation flavor that technology brings in, even the small players and relatively new banks, they are now better placed to compete with top banks offerings, right? Obviously, to cater to corporates' huge volume, I have seen some of the banks processing 5 million transactions per hour. To cater to that requirement, platform has to be really scalable and robust, and technology plays a great role in enabling transaction banking into this.
And Justin,
Angelina,
yeah,
sorry, I have a couple of things just to add. Obviously agree with everything that Poonam's just said. Obviously cloud technology is a massive area for banks. I think a lot of banks on a different sort of trajectory there. Some are kind of fully embracing the cloud strategy. Some are still in the on-premise, but considering moving to cloud. And Poonam touched on this earlier, whether that's in private or public cloud. But banks are definitely recognizing the importance of cloud technology, whether that's reduced IT costs, that's scalability, that could be business continuity, flexibility, even with working practices, and also possibly a much more easy upgrade path for the banks as they take on these cloud service providers. I also think a big area is around the advisory service. Poonam did touch on this earlier, and I also sort of mentioned a bit around this, but likes of big data, banks are really tapping into to be able to use that big data and through technology be able to present that to their customers through artificial intelligence, machine learning, and that enables enhanced insights and, for example, dynamic pricing on deposit portfolios, for example. And I guess we can't avoid blockchain. I think arguably we're still kind of in a proof of concept stage. There's a lot of different banks and obviously fintechs that are looking at blockchain as a solution. To me, it's just another platform for moving money, for storing transactions and information. But it's definitely got potential, and it's certainly being explored.
Yeah, thanks. So while we have seen an adoption of digital for retail and consumer, how do we enhance the same for corporate stroke wholesale clients in your view, either Poonam or Justin?
Yeah. So actually, Justin answered most of it in role of the technology. I would quickly like to bring out a couple of points here. We have really seen that how retailers have quickly adopted to this digitization. You go on a road, you would find hawkers with GPay around. It really amazes me. The way retailers have adopted this digitization process. And now, actually, corporates are also asking for it. And how can we enhance this this experience? Is obviously using all these technologies. We have to first of all bring in that intuitive experience, user experience, and transparent processes, which can concentrate more on their core businesses. For the corporates, right? So they don't care what is the system underneath, but they want a unified portal wherein they have a complete control, right? Get the system that is API based, which makes life easier for bankers as well as corporates, and then this integration becomes a cakewalk. They would bring in any ERP into the mix, and you should be able to seamlessly integrate with it. The big data, AI, ML, all these Justin already spoke about, right? Because nowadays, if you give more informative, more information to the corporates, on their dashboard, like cash flow forecasting, etc., they would be able to take the more informative decisions, and that is the need of an hour. One key aspect is banks should always understand corporate customers' internal processes. Try to give solution around it so that adaptation becomes little easy. So that's how I feel we can help bank help their customers.
So in your view, what is the typical challenges that these banks face in implementation?
What I have seen is the biggest challenge is to keep up with the ever-changing need and the rising expectations of the corporate customers. The world is moving towards digitization very fast, and their demands are increasing day by day. Addressing regulatory initiatives, parallelly, that becomes another mix. So you really need to have such vendor in place who is agile enough to meet this need very quickly. Another challenge in this area is faster customer onboarding, right? Onboarding process is very slow. If you cut down those processes, automate it more, that will really help bank again. Then the last challenge, which is the biggest challenge, is the integration with their homegrown or the proprietary system. They are the legacy system. You have a modern art today, so that that marrying between those, that's a challenge. So now mostly the world is moving towards microservices architecture. Obviously, the step one is make your system API enabled. So once you get all those things in mix, all these challenges that bank is facing today to implement transaction banking would definitely ease down.
Justin, so after listening to Poonam and both of you, what do you think is the future stroke outlook of transaction banking in your view?
So I think that we're probably already on that journey. So as I mentioned at the beginning, I think the pandemic has accelerated a lot of what banks were looking at. Some banks were already on the journey, but clearly what we've covered in detail today, myself and Poonam, is around digital. So digital is completely front to back. So when we talk digital, it's not just around the customer experience, but it's also it's also being the ability for the bank being able to automate all their processes, remove any manual processes, and be able to use, as I mentioned, the big data, and as Poonam said, to be able to convert that big data into useful insights, recommendations, not just like historically where banks would present data to the corporate, and the corporate would have to understand that data and what can they do with it. Now it's more about being able to give that that retail like experience to the corporate customers. You know, we also talked about being agile. So Poonam just talked about partnering with fintechs. You know, I talked earlier about this kind of ecosystem, whether you're a neo bank, a challenger bank, or a historical bricks and mortar bank. You'll have a place to play in this future of transaction banking. You know, we see banks, for example, some of the neobanks that provide kind of like the front end customer experience, but still partner with a traditional bank for the deposit and the payment processing. Or you see them, you know, integrating with the different accounting packages and even, you know, marketplaces. So I think that the ability to integrate and with different third-party platforms, and also have that open API approach where you can add new technologies, new experiences to that overall transaction banking experience is probably what we're going to see happening in the next few years.
Interesting. So I've just got a few questions now from the audience. There's a question from Saudi Arabia, Salah Idris. He's asking, I think, Poonam, maybe you can answer this question. How do you work in countries where cloud hosting is not allowed, like here in Saudi Arabia? Do you support a hybrid scenarios?
Yes, we do support hybrid scenarios. In few cases, what has happened is, so for cloud, also, there is a private cloud, there is a public cloud, and then there is a hybrid scenario. So wherein, here, even in India, yet multi-tenancy is not allowed. So, bank still goes ahead with the cloud infrastructure, but a private kind of a cloud infrastructure. So this kind of a hybrid model is definitely possible.
Okay. Justin, this question is for you. What are the top two, this is from UAE, Chetan Parekh. What are the top 2-3 use cases coming from banking customers in 2021?
So I would say, and we probably kind of touched on these things already today. So for me, what we've seen is particularly as I've mentioned a few times, that the pandemic has meant that very quickly corporate customers have had to be able to work from home and work remotely. So the whole digital experience for the corporate customer, being able to onboard them, move away from paper-based processing, that's one of the major use cases, and that's been driven, as I said, by purely by the world we live in today. That so to banks and also customers have had to change and adapt to support this new environment we're in. Customers want things easy as well. We talked about intuitive, not being able to. Let's take an example. So historically, if a corporate wants to make a payment, they may have to choose what payment rail they need to make that payment on. Corporates don't really care. They just want to make a decision on the speed and the cost. They don't care what rail they're going to use. So if a corporate wants to make a decision on, I need to get this money to a supplier in a week, the bank should provide them with the right solution. Not the corporate has to work out what payment rail that should be. But obviously, if the bank needs to make that payment in real time, then the bank can tell them it's real time. But then there could be a cost associated to this. So it's really about the information and being able to help the customer or the corporate customer in their day-to-day activities, simplify them, and where possible, automate them and give them, recommendations and insights.
And what do you see as the future of H2H versus B2B in API?
I could start with that. I think I think there's a future. There will be a future for both. So corporates, I think it depends on the type of corporate. So the larger corporates will still depend on their TMS, their ERP. They will expect a fully integrated hosting type system. There will become a time, I guess, that these other systems, as we talked about today, earlier, the open APIs should make standards, or should make the APIs, it's more standard. So you should be able to move away from purely host to host. But I think, as I said, I think there's an opportunity for both to exist. I'm not sure if Poonam, you've got a idea on this one.
Yeah. So, many of our corporates are already on host-to-host channel that provides, basically a seamless integration. But now, there is a continuous demand on this API that will actually, help us get away from this file format compatibility issue, etc. And it becomes real-time integration. So definitely, this is two different unique proposition altogether.
Okay. Another question that has just come is, corporate banking has mostly been RM led. How will technology be an enabler? How will RM's roles change in the future?
Yeah. So, RM will also be, they will also go digital now. Now mobile banking coming into the picture, right? And they can take this anywhere, and all these analytics, that insights that they will get from, right, that who to contact to, who has visited the site, who has done transactions, and all those analytics, those big data and everything, that if AI is put on top of it, definitely RM can be more enabled to contact to those corporates and reach out, wherein they can see that there is a potential, they can be our potential customer. If multiple other things, right, that like they see that in this particular corporate's account the money is lying idle, right? So there is a need of maybe there is a need of liquidity management solution that can help manage their funds in a more better way. So all these insights will definitely help RMs to get more business.
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree. I mean, I think that we've talked a lot about the customer, the bank's customer, and the requirement for them to have intuitive experiences and big data and information and insights and recommendations. To Poonam's point, exactly the same is just as important for the relationship manager. They need to know, particularly in this more kind of competitive landscape where, as I mentioned, the neo banks and the challenger banks, the RMs themselves need to know their customers a lot better than they used to. They need to be able to reach out to their customers and recommend and suggest better ways to do things. And this may come at a cost to the bank. To Poonam's point, providing liquidity solutions is quite often something that banks do, and there's a risk that they could lose out on certain transaction fees, for example. But what we've seen is providing these solutions and helping their customers ultimately will result in not only retaining your customers but winning new business, getting greater wallet share, and ultimately more deposits and transactions.
Yeah, just help educate them as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Do we have any more questions? Let me check. There's somebody who wants to communicate with you, Poonam, then they want to know how to communicate with you. So I think shall we just send them your email address?
Yes, please. Yes, please.
Okay.
I'll be
All right.
delighted to talk to him.
Yeah. Anyway, I think we're pretty much done, and I thank Poonam and Justin for your valuable insights, and of course to the audience for taking time to be with us on this webinar.